Hey, I'm Tegan from Tegan and Sara,
I'm Sara from Tegan and Sara.
and you are watching Buzznet.com. All right, I have some pretty good questions here for you.
You came up with them yourself?
No, these are from fans.
Oh, good.
Okay, the first question is from someone who I'm going to probably mutilate their name, but looks like Aston.
Aston.
Aston, how do you handle rejection? It's like Aston knows you.
My big thing about rejection is that there's like if it's in I assume they're asking from a personal romantic perspective potentially.
Let's pretend.
Let's pretend that they are. I think that love is tricky, life is tricky, and as much as you take it personally, I think it's always easiest to respect the other person, to have some compassion for the fact that sometimes people just don't want to be.
So when someone
Be your
rejects
boo.
you, you need to say, "That's okay. I love you." So I
If you
respect
loved
that
them.
you reject me.
Yeah. Well, maybe not. I expect that I respect that you rejected me. But maybe it's okay to say like, I respect your decision to reject me, and you'll regret it later. Snap.
Okay, Sugar split out.
That's the name of the person.
Yeah. Does it ever upset you that the con wasn't named Sugar? Spell it out.
No,
Because in the con movie,
I said that was one of the titles that I really liked.
But are you glad that it was called the con and not Sugar? Spell it out.
I mean, now it's like it'd be like if you named your kid something, and then later in life you're like, geez, I wish I'd named my kid something different. Like now that it's the kid's out there and it has that name, I mean, I'm pretty attached to it.
Shamey wants to know why you don't sing as much live.
Well, we're really aware of the songs that the audience wants to see, and I don't generally think of the songs as being like your songs or my songs. I just think of like what we know the audience really likes and what translates well live. And in the past, I felt like a lot of my material wasn't as easily translated live, and I feel like a lot of your songs the fans get really excited about and whatever, so sometimes the set list is a bit lopsided. Although I think with this new album, I think it might change that a bit.
Chronic Blush wants to know, can you identify one protagonist in modern literature that you have similar characteristics to, and why that character?
I don't know if I would pick one character, but there's an overall theme of character in literature that I am drawn to, and that is the middle-aged, newly single, going through a crisis man. A lot of my favorite books, like an example would be Independence Day by Richard Ford. The main character is a middle-aged man going through a midlife crisis. He's a real estate agent. He's like in his 40s. He's super introspective. He's thinking existentially. That is the character that I really relate to.
Rubik's Cube wants to know if you ever listen to French music or musicians from Quebec. Good question.
I do listen to French music. I don't listen to a ton of contemporary French music, and I don't listen to a lot of French music from Quebec specifically. But I do love old French music, and that comes from my grandparents both of them being French, and so I'm a sucker for that stuff. I think it's beautiful.
Dionique, again, I don't know if that's how you really say it, but that's how it looks, wants to know why Rob no longer plays drums in the band, which I think is hilarious because he's been out of the band for 5 years and people still ask.
Rob went on to do lots of really terrific things in his life, and he's not playing with the band now, but we are still good friends, and we look back.
He's helped me buy paint for your new apartment.
He started a painting business. He's very successful. He is still a great friend of ours, and
I just worked with him on
a short. Yeah,
that's right. I hired him to play drums on a project that I produced this spring. So
yes,
he's still playing drums and he's doing well.
He is still. He's fantastic. He's a great guy.
Yeah. Okay, Grapefruit Moon 1 wants to know what it was like working with Tiesto.
He was awesome. He was super. We performed with him at Bonnaroo last year, which was great, and then we collaborated and wrote a song together for his new record. He's super nice. Really great guy. Has a great sense of melody, and it's not obviously the type of music that we make, but I really appreciate what he does, and I loved making the song, and I think it's really cool, and he's great.
Last question is from Ms. NJS, who wants to know if you could collaborate with a hip-hop artist, who would it be?
Oh, Well,
That's a pretty easy one.
well, I mean, I really love most recently the last 2 records that The Dream put out. I love those records. I guess they're like, I don't know if they're as hip-hop-y as they are R&B sort of, but I've always loved Q-Tip's voice. I have this fantasy about doing a record with a boy, and I never pick rock boys. I always pick like vocals that I loved from like R&B and hip-hop records. So maybe I would collaborate with Q-Tip.
Cool.
Word.